That we are going to meet August 7th. Committee will start at 5:30, so that'll be the last one for August.
5:30.
Or 5:45.
Thank you.
5:45. Good thing. I knew you'd be on it. I just said it wrong, so you're paying attention.
I always pay attention.
Okay, so ordinances tonight, we have several on here. An ordinance for the alley vacation, that can be the first reading. 2423, it's the amended tree ordinance, that's the second reading. Ordinance 3723, that was the electric aggregation, that needs passed tonight, correct?
Yes.
And 3823 is the gas, which needs passed. 3923 is transfers that Sherry had sent, needs passed. And 4023 to amend the maintenance salary. And that's going to run its course, or does that need passed?
I need pass tonight, please.
Okay. Nobody had said anything, so can we finish it at can we do the first read and finish it at the August 7th meeting, or does it absolutely have to be passed
But it
tonight?
says it's effective August 6th in the body.
It'd be fine. What time of pay period would hit the next pay period?
We can pass.
I think it would be fine.
I'll go ahead and pass it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Because that's Sunday.
so 40 needs, 40 will need pass as well. As a follow-up, the Carnegie Building, where are we at with that?
Charges will be delivered Wednesday, so this Wednesday.
And for the two houses in Roscoe, have those been?
Charges will be delivered at the same time,
Okay,
as long as the people are home.
good. Okay, property on Otsego,
Charges will be filed on Wednesday.
We did charges against every property.
Yeah, every one of those.
Every one of them that was brought up?
Yes. Yep.
what about the basin?
I've reached out to talk to ODNR. Trying to think who else I talked to a couple different resources. I still need to get with Tammy on that at Lake Park and get a game plan. There are some grants, there are some options, so just getting the time to get together with her and who we are going to go seek funding from.
Okay. Let's see, your Human Relations Commission, we got the email today. So notice they're from all over the county, not the city.
Yeah, every board, there's a lot of boards where people are in the city outside, a little bit outside the city, so it's not anything that's different from any other board.
You
or
may have
commission.
talked about this on a meeting I wasn't at, but I guess I know the background behind the committee.
So it was formed, I believe it was formed in like, I want to say 2007.
Okay.
It was just never filled. The seats it kind of went dormant, and by law and ordinance, we need to have that commission filled and appointments made. It's actually chapter 159 of the codified ordinances.
Okay. So what's the update on the sidewalks in Roscoe, Max?
We, Angie is, we put the stuff out in the paper. We're putting the packet together Wednesday to get out to the contractors, and we'll have a.
Okay, so is the city going to be responsible for the rotten railroad ties in front of the store vendors? Because there's some rotten ties in front of a couple they're falling over, and it's like in a walkway. I know the city replaced the ones along the street is what we agreed to, but who's responsible for the railroad ties where they're falling over, where people walk?
Which ones are you?
Yeah.
Right in front of, right beside the, where the Weaver's Garden is, it's a red building. Those things are falling over.
You talking about the Hess house
Yeah. Yeah,
on them steps right there?
yep,
Yeah, that'll be part of that project.
okay.
There's a drainage cover needs replaced there too.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was gonna get fixed or not. I just tried to head off
It's
another
part of that.
visit. you know, so if we're gonna get that fixed, I'd like to know.
No, when we take the contractors there to do the walkthrough, that's gonna be one of the things I'll point out to.
Because the concrete's fine, but the railroad ties obviously haven't been kept up. So, by whoever's supposed to do it.
Ironically, the railroad killed the canal, and now we have railroad ties in our canal town.
That history.
Right, uh-huh. I
So,
paid
I think
attention
all the
to
ones
that.
along.
any other ordinances for the next meeting? Sherry, you have some, right?
I'll have appropriations and transfers.
You don't have anything?
I'll let you-
Well, the one, because we did get approval from ODOT.
Hold on a second, please. Transfers. Dave?
And we'll have one to purchase property for the pump station in Warsaw. ODOT finally gave us approval for like 3/4 of an acre across from the old JW site, which is the ideal location for pump station,
How much, Dave?
15.
We'll have to. We'll look at appropriations and so forth. We'll have to, because we're really tight right now too. So, I mean, I'm sure that'll work out, but appropriation wise with what I'm coming up now with.
Okay.
Yeah, that would not be part of the project, that we take it out of the funding.
Well, according to the engineer, if we do that, then we're gonna have to go through all the federal procurement requirements. They highly recommend we do that separate from the project.
But we're not gonna put any shovels into the ground before the first of the year, correct?
Yeah, last email saw from Jeanette with the ARC money not being available to second or third quarter of 24, you won't put any shovels in the ground prior to second or third quarter of 24 at the earliest.
We collect the first year to pay that, buy that lot. We just need to rate to buy it, I guess.
Yeah, we need to sign a contract. The owner's been very cooperative. We tell him it's coming after the first year. I think he'd be okay with that.
Y'all know where it is. Instead of turning like, you go to JW's, you turn to the left, and there's that little place where you can turn around,
Right,
right in that area.
okay.
It's actually staked out right now.
Yeah, there's stakes there. It's taken us, what, 4 months to get approval from ODOT to use it.
Okay.
That's the only one I know of. You know anything else, Max?
I guess my question would be, on that zoning change. If we'll meet
Yeah, that
the
zoning,
zoning board, they will okay, if that guy's wanting to get started building in there.
that won't be an ordinance, so,
Uh-uh.
well, just
What are we talking
just need verbal approval for zoning, planning and zoning meeting, if the planning and zoning meeting approve. Well,
Council needs to pass an ordinance approving the
okay,
Zoning change.
all right.
What's that for? You love
One
to
of
say?
it,
Yeah, housing
Oh, okay.
for, on the old Preddy's lot.
yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, Sherry, you have anything else? Is that all you need?
No, I would like to go down through the appropriations and transfers.
Yep.
I have several. First of all, tonight with ordinance 3923, section 5, transfer $45,000 from water debt service to water capital improvement. I'd like to remove that section tonight, and I'm gonna make up for it another way in 2 weeks. So if you can amend that ordinance just to eliminate section 5 and then pass it after that.
Rod, you have Amy's ordinances.
So I'll have that. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff going on right now.
You say section 5?
Section 5, yeah, because you can just mark on there once they amend it and then initial it.
just have a motion to delete that section and then you have a vote on it.
Okay.
And I'll go forward with the other ones. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna start with kind of on the street side. We received the bill for the 2024 street lighting project on Second and Walnut, and Max can maybe hit more on where those are at. I was not anticipating, did not realize we would get the bill here in 2023 for 2024 project. But the bill is $202,900. And that's the contract amount of 139 plus ODOT engineering, $63,900. I think the total project is what, 500 and something, Mark, isn't it?
It'll end up, yeah,
And to-
500,000.
But that's our share, $202,900.
There will actually be so does that cover the million total? Or does that just cover the
That's
first
just the first
500?
one.
Yeah, the
That's just
first
the first.
500,000,
Mhm.
right?
So with that, I need to make several transfers. Mark and Max and Kevin and I sat down and talked. I first was exploring the option of going with what is called a SIB loan, a state infrastructure bank loan. But then I decided to just really sit down and go through all of Kevin's line items and see where we were at. And so between that and a 401 capital improvement, have come up with transfers and just the one appropriation to be able to cover this. I'm creating a new line item where I'd like for you to transfer into this so we can capture it all under one traffic light capital improvement. So Kevin, we agreed $35,000 from street salt because he's good for this year, next year for salt. Street salaries, $15,000, street PRS, $50,000 or $5,000. Street employee insurance, I'm gonna be able to take $38,000, and I'll touch on where we're at with our employee insurance escrow here in a second. BWC, $4,000, his routine engineering, $3,500, heated hill gas, $1,000. He said he could go ahead and the street capital improvement alley paving, $50,000. That'll all go into that street capital improvement traffic light. Along with that, there'll be the additional appropriation of $51,400 that our 401 capital improvement fund will put towards this project. So those all total up to the $202,900. If you guys can pass this on the 7th, we can get the check out to them, and it only delays the project, right, like by a week, maybe 2 weeks max, mailing and processing
Just
time.
delays the bidding.
It just delays the bidding for it. So then we had another item. We had the sidewalks. We had, I had to mess around with appropriations there because the sidewalks line Hollingball Park was $18,700. Only had $13,000 in capital for the parks. So I pulled the balance out of the 401 capital miscellaneous. And then comes along, we have to do like $20,000 in upgrades for our phone system. And is it the server and the line, and it's all blended together. So I need to have a transfer. Again, we don't have enough. That bill it ended up coming in almost $19,000. And I only had $16,000 in City Hall capital improvement. So I have a transfer of $5,000 from the capital improvement miscellaneous to the City Hall equipment line. Looking forward here, I'm going to need additional into water office salaries of $20,000. And I think that would hold us for the rest of the year. And going to take that from their water employee insurance line item. I might have already said that. Again, I'll talk about that because I talked about that with this street. That was due to, they hired an extra person in January that was brought on from the health department. And then we just had a retirement payout in there. So actually the same is going to be true with the sewage employee insurance. I'm going to transfer from there to the sewage office salaries, because if not, there's just not enough. 45,000 from what I want to take off this transfer tonight from water debt service. I would like to take $45,000 from water employee insurance to the water capital improvement. to substitute this right here. My initial thought was before the break, before the large break, that's gonna cost about $200,000 or something, 210 maybe. My thought was, water debt service, I could probably take that out of 702 contingency, this one last loan payment for the year. And now that we have the break, I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm gonna have to, that's why I'm reworking this. How I'm able to take from the employee insurance is, we escrow every month, a set amount based off the number of employees. So far this year, I'm hesitant to say, but knock on wood, I've only had to take 5 escrows because our claims have just been so incredibly low. And you just have to hope and think, pray, that's our employees are staying nice and healthy. But I fully funded it last year and continued in here. I didn't take one in March, April. I didn't take one in May, and I didn't take one in June, because my goal was always to get it up to 750 in that reserve account. Now it's at 1.2 million. So I feel comfortable not doing a couple escrows. So what that, 2 escrows for water freed up $57,900 in appropriations. That's how I can pull over. I'm thinking I probably won't take one for August. So, there's another $29,000. And same with street. It's basically $22,750 a month. So that just frees up appropriations in that line item that I can transfer down into another line item. It's not increasing the budget, it's just shifting them around, transferring from one line item to the other. But, knock on wood, that our claims still say that way.
Sherry, we self-funded,
We are self-funded, yes.
and the minimum amount you want in there is 750,000.
That was always my goal last year. And, last year was a pretty good year. The year previous that was not a good year
And we're at 1.2 now.
in cash now.
With how many employees?
There's
Approximately.
81 or 82 employees that's employees. That's not lives. There's like 200 and whatever lives on there.
Really, 1.2 is not that much.
No, we have our stop loss of the 100,000. So, that helps there. But
Right.
anyways, I want to explain, that's how I'm able to do that. So that, in the general fund, that reduced our 2 months, that reduced our expenses, basically $182,000. So, if I can do that and, still keep a healthy balance in there, but we have to have people remain healthy to do that. So, I hate to even talk about it, but, that's, yeah, I know, I hope not. So then the other transfer or not, okay, so that's all the transfers. The other appropriation will be to appropriate $120,000 into water contingency, capital improvement. We started the year with $75,000 in capital improvement, $25,000 for debt, so $100,000. The budget with the beginning cash, what's expected to come in, has only just under $260,000 of, that we can appropriate. So this will take it up to 220. The cash might come in a little bit more with the rate increase, because, that's more than it'll go into there more. But that's, where we're at with that. But even after that said, I figured someplace here with what we're going to be paying, for this break, that contingency probably by the end of the year could be down to, I don't know, $70,000.
So you get audited.
Yeah, I know, keep it there.
Okay, so what we'll do is when we do additions for the agenda, we'll vote separately on ordinance 3923 to delete section 5. And then we'll have a vote on okaying the mayor's human resource commission. on additions. You out of breath? Are you done?
Unless anybody has any questions.
Thought you were the mayor for a minute.
Hey, we should have started earlier.
I
I'm just
forewarned
kidding.
you. I forewarned you.
Yes,
I
you
had
did.
a lot.
Yes, you did. Okay. My other question is, safe sidewalks to school. Where are we at with that?
We
We
have
have a meeting scheduled.
31st.
31st, I believe.
31st.
Yeah, I saw Ridgewood just got a big,
Usually that isn't a hard grant to get. It's just making sure everybody's bought into, that we have areas identified and things of that nature.
okay. All right. All right. Does anybody else have anything? Dave, you have anything?
Unless there's questions or anything like that, no.
Mayor?
I got one for Dave. There still seems to be water on Denman.
Yes.
We have a leak there that we said we don't have. or-
You know, if you saw the leak on Walnut Street over the weekend, you know, that was a service line. There's that small leak on Denman. The major leak on Chestnut's put us behind. I'd say we're 3 weeks out before we get to the one on Denman. It's pretty small. As everybody's aware, you know, there's been 2 breaks on, you know, on Chestnut, you know, so they're kind of running together. That's why the estimates went up. Estimated pipe age, 100 to 125 years old. If I could predict when the next one is going to happen, I'll be buying lottery tickets, you know. We're trying to minimize the damage, you know. Our downtime the second time was about half that, so, you know, we're getting better. Figuring out what valves to close, you know, that was key there. That line is actually the major return line from the reservoir. That's why the first time, Malcolmwood, we thought, we actually got lucky because we originally thought it was the 24 to the reservoir. Turned out it was only the 12-inch returning from the reservoir. But, you know, as you can see, the damage from just one 12-inch line, because the first one, people probably not aware of, basically destroyed 2 stormwater catch basins. The sanitary catch basin was gone. We don't know. You know, it was wrecked. The big heavy lid on the sanitary, you know, manhole, it was actually just floating. There was enough volume and pressure from that water to keep that lid floating from sinking. I mean, that's just the amount of force you have out of that 12-inch line.
So the one on Denman, is that a reoccurring problem?
We had one leak there about 2 years ago. This one's 4 or 5 feet down from that. You know, we have reoccurring, like Hill Street is another line, you know, since I've been here, we've been out there 4 times. My 3 years, we've been out to Buena Vista 3 times. There's some reoccurring areas. Unfortunately, those areas we're getting quicker in responding because we know everything's at. This is my 3rd leak on the one on Chestnut, because when I first started, there was one up past the booster station.
Yeah, you wasn't here yet for the other big blow.
No,
So it's actually 4 breaks in
right.
less than 4 years.
And to put it in perspective, we got an initial estimate from the engineer. He come down, there's about 4,000 feet of 12-inch pipe. That estimate is close to $2 million. That line, we believe, was put in prior to Hartscrabble Reservoir, which was put in 1915. This line was probably put in prior to that, because there was one small reservoir shown on the drawing that was obsoleted in 1915, and this line come from that. So that gives you an idea of the age of some of the infrastructure.
That 2 million is just to go from the end, basically of where we fixed it at Wayne's
To the rest,
to the reservoir and up to the 20th Street pumping station.
4,000 feet of pipe. That works out to about $500 a foot. And if you kind of just assume we have 110 miles of pipe in the city, if you replace it all, you're looking at $300 million. I mean, we got to do these critical ones and then manage the rest of them on an as-needed basis. But some of these major ones that impacts the whole town, we've got to start looking at those. I know the mayor's looking, and he can speak more about some emergency funding and stuff like that. That's one reason the road is being closed, because there is greater chance potential for OPWC funding because of road closures and stuff like that. I'll turn it over to the mayor on that.
Thank you, Dave.
You may talk about the road, what I'm gonna talk to Melway about tomorrow. For the short term.
Well, right now, The second break, the first break, I reached out to SPP and talked to them about, let's find some funding to fix this, right? The second call I made to them was when the second break occurred. Basically, I hate to say this, but government, there's never an emergency. I was told OPWC funding for next year would open up in July. So we can't wait until next July. So we have, since my initial contact with different state agencies, had the sheriff's office, the sheriff wrote a letter, Chief Dreyer wrote a letter to try to step up the response to, my whole thing is, makes no sense to rip that whole road up and put a brand new road in there with a 120-year-old water line, because all that's going to happen, it's going to pop and it's going to blow out a couple $100,000 worth of road. So we need to figure out, this week I should be, I've talked with Omega, our partners at Omega, our partners at SPP, the EPA, the governor's office, the OPWC, OWDA, every funding source. I would like to leverage emergency grant funding and not take out a loan on it. I just don't want to do something where we're going to put a brand new road down and we're going to just watch our money just flow down Chestnut Street.
Not
So,
fix the problem.
right, and not fix the problem. So we will not be putting a Band-Aid on it, but we need to figure out where the funding comes from the state, from where, whoever can help. And that's what we're working on right now. An idea has come up to maybe remove the brick out, build a base, and maybe chip and seal that road just to get it reopened until we can figure out funding. To me, I was a month in office when the first break occurred right at the gas station at the freeze right there. We know it's bad. Why not fix it? Why not fix it right? Why not fix it right the first time? But it essentially comes down to funding. It sounds easy to dig all the pipes up and just replace them all. And 300 million, 500 million, it would be a huge project. It's not going to happen unless people want their water rates 10 times the amount they're paying now. It's just impossible. We have to identify which, a lot of times we talk about roads, you can pick whichever one you want. I mean, the infrastructure is 100 years old, whether it be water, whether it be sewer, whether it be storm, and there's issues all over town. So we know, Hill Street is another issue, an example of what we have going on. This is a definite issue, and we need to figure it out. And that's what I've been working on as soon as it happens. So, finding the funding is a big part of this. Just want people to be patient. I did make a temporary four-way stop at 16th and Hay. Haven't heard as much on Northeast Main about traffic as I have on Hay. We made that put some temporary stop signs up there to slow people down. Hay needs paved. It's taken a beating on this. So it's just one opportunity leads to another opportunity. But I just want everyone to know, be patient. It will get done, but I'd rather wait a little bit longer and do it properly than to rush it and spend a bunch of money and essentially go back in and spend a bunch more money. So that's kind of where it stands. I wish it was open. I wish it was fixed. I wish it never happened. I want to thank everyone who was out there. It was definitely a long night, long next day. And then, like Dave said, it blew the next time. And it was kind of like, we got this, but the road was already ripped up. It wasn't right around a fire hydrant, a sanitary sewer, a storm sewer, the 17th Street intersection, just everything was decimated. So it took time. So I am working on funding. And with that said, anyone have any questions on that?
Can you keep me posted
I
on
will.
this stuff?
I
please?
will. I most
So I can-
definitely will.
Thank
And it's hard to celebrate this, but I'll lead into this. Friday, the city of Coshocton was awarded $5 million for the Warsaw Waterline Extension Project, which in my mind gets us close to 100% funding for that project. And right now, ballpark, we're at 11.25 million for that project, which is a blessing. And it's, it's, to me, it's hard to celebrate when I have a $1.9 million project in the middle of town and I have 11.25 going to Warsaw. So, but it takes a lot off our plate, and it takes, it helps the people of Warsaw not have a huge amount of debt reduction to pay, and I'm confident we're close. We also have $3 million request into the federal government, which we won't know until the end of the year if we receive that. I even asked the question, can I get $1 million out of that 5 million to fix the project that I have that I need money for? And the simple answer was no. So I even asked that question, can I have 4 million and put $1 million over here? No, it's not the way government funding works. We have to take as much time as possible.
So when we do those projects like the West Lafayette, Warsaw, we're tapping into our 100-year-old water lines and adding more water through them, right? Dave?
Yeah, I mean, not,
That'd be tapping over County Road 49. They're probably only 50 years old. Okay, so those are the new lines.
Oh, they're only 50?
yeah, yeah.
Pretty young.
Yeah, they're not horribly old.
Yeah,
They may be ductile. See, these lines are cast,
yeah.
so it don't take much. I mean, you can break a piece of cast if you saw cut with a hammer.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah,
Right.
but, the new ductile, we really don't have these issues with.
No, and I mean, I appreciate the state, the 5 million came from House Bill 168, the governor's Ohio Builds program. So we appreciate the governor and the state. Like I said, it's hard to celebrate. It's a huge win for not only us and regionalizing water, but it's just, I know we need funding in town, and that's what we're identifying areas that we need that funding. And there is also other rounds of this House Bill 168, but I think last year, this is round 5 of that money. So we could quite possibly get money from this pool for Chestnut Street, but it takes time. So preliminary engineering was done in 1 day. So we have the preliminary engineering, and it's out to everyone who needs to see it and knows that we need help with this project. You want me to just go on with everything and be done?
Yeah, Dave said
Okay,
go
cool.
ahead.
Dave, you
Go
good?
ahead.
You got anything else to add?
No, I think that's it. As you said, it's all about funding. The other project we had submitted for House Bill 168, because wasn't taking any new project, was actually another reservoir.
Right.
That was our second project.
And that was in that same area where we have the
Yeah.
water line at.
Yeah.
the
of course,
the
right.
reservoir
We only
that
have
was
one
built in
reservoir. This would
1915,
Put a
right.
second redundant reservoir in,
Right.
because that's the 1915 reservoir.
It's showing signs of spalling when we dove it last year.
Concrete separating from the supports.
Is it imminent danger? No, but at some point it's going to be replaced for the new tower.
Right, and we have a list of infrastructure needs.
I think I'd
We-
want to comment on that. I think I've emailed all you guys the project list separated out between capacity and maintenance type projects, so the reservoirs was on there as a high priority of maintenance.
Right, and I don't know what, I think that's $100 million list or something almost
And I don't think I included
unattainable.
any piping, or I don't think I put piping on it.
Right, so I mean, that's kind of, and we're not unique here to this situation. It's everywhere, and you hear infrastructure and, all the utilities now are instead of improving infrastructure and having the plan together on the next 50 years, a lot of companies and things have spent that money, and that's what we need to figure out moving forward, how we leverage what we have. I know no one wants to pay more, but at some time we have to figure out how do we finance this? How do we fund this to make things better for the future?
And some of the things we're going to help leverage that as council passed the authorization, to apply for that upgrade to wastewater plant, is spending a little bit of engineering money to, get firm estimates for like the CDBG grant that the county participated in and allowed us to apply for. We were ready. And, so we've got several other projects like under the way where we're getting the engineering done. Because as soon as that next CDBG grant opportunity comes available, we say, here, we're ready. Here's our cost estimates. The engineer can stamp it. And that helps us go to the top of the list on those projects. In prior years, we didn't have that stuff done. So that's one reason we got the wastewater grant to submit. We haven't been awarded, but at least we got a chance to submit. So we've got to get some of these projects preliminary design, at least a point where they give us a good estimate. So that's the other things we're working on to be ready for the next round of CDBG funding. And those are typically $500,000 grants for critical infrastructure.
So we are doing everything that we can, and I wish I could have split off $1 million from the 5 million, but it's just the way it is. So we will keep pushing. Safe routes to school we talked about, but we will have a meeting the 31st. The DORA committee will meet Monday, the 31st, all the DORA permit holders, just to go over once again how things need to be working downtown. And everything needs a DORA sticker on it to try to bring some normalcy to concerts, and that way people aren't carrying things in. If anyone has any questions.
I'm glad you're having that meeting. Seem to be a lot of misunderstandings on what the rules are for the DORA.
Right.
And it's gonna cause some problems, so I'm glad you're having that meeting.
Right, and it's just as simple as if you buy a DORA beverage downtown, it has to be in a cup with a DORA sticker on it. That's it. It's a pretty simple process.
I don't know if there was any issues at all last year, the first year of it, at least that I witnessed.
Certainly not like this year.
Right.
Anybody else? Max, you have anything?
Covered about everything. On a bright spot, the sidewalk project down on Plum and Brown Lane will start next Monday. So, and the pre-con meeting today with Cleeks Bunch and newcomer who done Second Street sidewalks. Who got the bid, so they done an excellent job down there.
And I want to add to that, at some point, we want to go down Browns Lane and all of Second Street, so people have access.
Yeah, you
But
said
once
that
again,
before.
it's,
Yeah.
and this is the first phase of many phases yet to come to pour sidewalk all the way down Second Street for accessibility.
Max, can you refresh my memory? What is our share on that? And did
We
Did
really,
we?
that was CDBG money that was left over from what Leslie got.
Okay,
And that was originally, thought we could do streetlights with that until we found out that just the poles themselves would have cost more than that. So we switched over and are doing this sidewalk for mobilization. For people
Yeah.
who live down that way, they can get the backside of Bueller safer. So.
I was thinking I signed a certificate that we would have X available. I'm drawing a blank on it right now.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, it's gonna be.
shouldn't, I don't think there should be any our share on that.
Like are they gonna be 6-foot sidewalks?
5 foot.
5 foot, yeah.
Four
So
is
it'll go,
by ordinance, these are probably 5.
it's kind of a wonky space down there with Wiley's and those houses, so it'll finally be somewhere
In
where
front of the
people can get
houses.
off the, yeah.
Across the tracks on the east side. So we stay away from any traffic at the grain company, during harvest and that. Then we'll come down by the daycare and come in. Right now, the plans are is to come to where you go in the viewers on the driveway there. It looks like we got about $14,000 though more that we can play with. So we may run it like to the front of Covington Square, to where their entrance
The
way.
apartments there and
If
then,
we
yeah.
can go by that a little bit, we will. Like, and when we talked to like Valerie and them, we're on all the lists for that sidewalk to go all the way to Family Dollar down Second. A lot of people are on those little carts and stuff now that live down in there, so. We'll make it nice when you get a sidewalk completely down Second Street. So anyway, that's good. After we had that meeting, I did take, Mr. Cleek and, our engineer on a little ride. We talked about going after another, revitalization project up in the Arthur Trade Hay, up in that area. Probably a year or two before, because you got projects done before you get that money. But I think we can do a lot of paving, a park and, some bus shelters or sidewalk repair, whatever you want. So
Trade is that.
Trade's bad, Arthur's bad, Hayes bad.
Right.
But if we can get some grant funding for that, that'd be great. So if you remember, we done that in 2018, Sharon, done the first ward, got a lot of paving and sidewalks, stuff out of that, so. Mike talked to, we just need to find a place to put a little park in. Quick said parks are always a good way to sell it, that's a $750,000 grant, so. I don't know if we can get something in there around where there's habitats, houses were built. I don't know who owns right in there behind. I'll be back in there behind the BP there. There's a nice field in there. If we can get them to sell us a little bit of ground, it would be a big park, obviously, but it's something for kids.
Talk about behind the old Papa John's.
Yes.
Yeah.
The old pottery store.
Okay. But anyway, that'll probably be, they keep a list with the commissioners and prioritize that. So if we thought that was a good project, especially after you've seen those roads up in there. I mean, I think that's all I have unless you guys have questions.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, we'll head off to council, about 3 minutes. Go quick if you gotta go. But you see, there's some communications in there too. So,
You get our stuff.
we need to be happy about that.
I jotted on this one if you want, if you need.
You got stuff I have.
I did see your email to reprint. that one.
Yeah.
Because I looked at my
Yeah, there
paper and I'm
is
like,
section.
Couldn't take. Everybody, today is Monday, July 24th. We're going to schedule the city council meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Here.
Barcroft. Here. Groves.
Here.
Johnson is absent. Price. Here. Moore. Here. Turner.
Here.
Okay, I need a motion to excuse Councilman Chad Johnson.
So moved.
Second.
Andrew, seconded. Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Groves.
Yes.
Price. Yes. Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, stand for the pledge, remain standing for education. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, we thank you again for this opportunity. Pray that you would bless our proceeding tonight. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Council emailed the minutes from July 10th, 2023 meeting. Any questions or comments? If not, I need a motion to accept the minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes. One second.
Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Groves.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Public input. Okay, some additions. I need a motion from council to remove section 5 of ordinance 39-23.
I'll make a motion.
Second, Andrews. Barcroft. Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Groves.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
While we're here, I also need a motion to okay the mayor's human resource committee.
I'll make a motion.
Gross?
Second.
Turner. Call roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, anything you wanna?
I'll make it short and sweet. Visited Rock Coshocton this weekend at the fairgrounds. Excellent turnout. A lot of local bands, a lot of out of town bands. I know there are a lot of people in town, this weekend for that. Want to thank, Mickey, Rick, a lot of the fair board participated to make that event successful. Whoever made that successful, I know the city helped out, all the local sponsors, everyone that was involved. Great weather, looked like it was gonna rain a couple times, and I told it not to rain, so it didn't rain. Want to remind everyone, First Farm Friday is August 4th, which is not this weekend, which will be the following weekend. Claudia Hoiser is a very talented up and coming country artist. Will follow the First Farm Friday festivities. And it should be a blast, and it won't rain that day either. So just want to welcome everyone out to that. If anyone has any further questions from committee, let me know and I'll answer them.
Anyone? Max, you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add outside of what we brought up.
Roger makes a great clerk too.
Thank you. Doesn't matter of opinion. Bob, you have anything to add for us?
Just going back to the property owner that's been up for discussion the last couple of meetings. The charges have been filed and hopefully will be served Wednesday. In the meantime, I've also started to work on the drafting of a lawsuit for the 3 different family members that own those properties. That if these aren't abated after we do these charges, I intend to file that lawsuit. That specific statute that I'm going to use requires them to be put on notice to abate it and then fail to do so. So we got to do this step first. So there'll be a multi-step effort to get this done, and it may take a while. But yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Mark, glad you could make it. Hope you didn't,
Just got back.
hope you didn't have any bad slices or anything,
This
but. Interesting. Yeah. You have anything to add to the stuff? Okay. Dave, you have anything?
Nothing additional unless there's questions.
Okay, going to legislation. Okay. First reading, I'll ask clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 40, or first reading of ordinance 3623.
An ordinance vacating a 16-foot alley totaling 0.0551 acres from parcel 04300002530 to a previously vacated portion of the same alley ending at parcel 04300003420 on North 15th Street.
Questions or comments? Ordinance 3623 will take its course. Okay, next, or in passed, I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 3723.
An ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to effect a governmental electricity aggregation program, opt-out provision pursuant to section 4928.20 of the Ohio Revised Code, directing the Coshocton County Board of Elections to submit a ballot question to the election and declaring an emergency.
For the first reading of ordinance 3723.
I'll make a motion, we move this to a third
I'll
reading.
second.
Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, give the third reading of ordinance 3723.
In order to authorize all actions necessary to effect the governmental electricity aggregation program to opt out provisions pursuant to section 4928.20 of the Ohio Revised Code, directing the Coshocton County Board of Elections to submit a ballot question to the election and declaring an emergency.
Okay, you've heard the third reading. And the question is, should ordinance 3723 pass? Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 3723 is passed. Ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 3823.
In order to authorizing all actions necessary to effect the governmental natural gas aggregation program to opt out provision pursuant to section 4928.20 Ohio Revised Code, directing the Coshocton County Board of Elections to submit a ballot question to the election and declaring an emergency.
Okay, you've heard the first read of ordinance 3823.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and go directly to the third reading.
Turner,
A second.
Gross, call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Give the third reading of ordinance 3823.
In order to authorizing all actions necessary to effect the governmental natural gas aggregation program to opt out provision pursuant to section 4928.20 Ohio Revised Code, directing the Coshocton County Board of Elections to submit a ballot question to the election and declaring an emergency.
Question is, should ordinance 3823 pass? Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 3823 is passed. Clerk, give the first reading of ordinance 3923.
Transfer.
First reading of ordinance 3923.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and go to the third reading.
Second. Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
The motion to suspend the rules and give the 3923. Oh, we just did that. Groundhog Day. Okay, third, the third reading. Question is, did ordinance 3923 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
The first reading of ordinance 4023.
In order to establish the position of wastewater maintenance supervisor and said hourly rate.
Heard the first reading of ordinance 4023. Suspend the rules and one third reading.
I'll second.
Four. Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
The third reading of ordinance 4023.
In order to establish the position of wastewater maintenance supervisor and said hourly rate.
Question is, should ordinance 4023 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Second reading. As clerk give the second reading of ordinance 2423.
In order to amend chapter 925, tree rules and regulations.
For the second reading of ordinance 2423. Any questions or comments? Ordinance 2423 will take its course. Have nothing at the third reading, resolutions, old business, nothing. Communications.
Yes. First of all, we have a liquor permit request from the Black Canvas Craft Studio, Russ Decor. We have a couple of other requests for the sale of property for sale on South 10th Street, property for sale at 424 North 9th Street, both in Coshocton.
Next.
And an announcement from the American Red Cross with the blood drive, August 1, from 11 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. at the Coshocton County Commission Community Room.
Okay. Our next meeting will be August 7th, 2023 at 6:30. Need a motion for the meeting to be adjourned? So moved. Warren.
Second.
Andrew.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Adjourned.
Sure, I'll come.